Hey, friends. Coach Selena here. Um, I wanted to come back to YouTube to have a quick conversation about a couple of things that were just kind of that I was sitting with recently. So I haven't been here in a year. A lot of big things have happened in my life. So March of last year, I had a massive stroke, and it was a very rare type of stroke. They still can't figure out why it happened. And I kind of had to rebuild life for a good chunk of time. In that process, I am now partially blind in both eyes. I've lost my driver's license. I had to relearn how to walk. And it has really made me rethink so much of my own journey over the past almost year. So it's been about 10 months. And I had to put things on the back burner. And one of the things was my YouTube channel. And I was thinking, 2025, it's a fresh start. And I had to ask myself what's important. And one of the things that I decided was important was coming back here and starting to share more of my thoughts to reach more people because it's important to me in my line of work to help you feel seen, heard, and validated when you're struggling, especially if you are struggling with clutter. So, if I am new to your world, I am a decluttering coach. I'm also a grief and trauma therapist. And talking about how clutter impacts our space and impacts us as individuals is really important to me. And that's because it's something that I've struggled with. Clutter has been part of my whole entire life. And I think one of the most important things that I realized was that we are so much more than our stuff, right? If we have cluttered spaces, sometimes we have a tendency to make us tell ourselves that somehow we are less than, right? We compare our space to other people's spaces. Sometimes there's a lot of shame. There could be guilt. We could be dealing with grief. There's a lot of overwhelm and a lot of panic. And it's important to me that we have some conversations about that to be able to maybe just kind of be like, kind of lay it all out on the table, right? To get a little bit vulnerable and to talk about how we're feeling and why we're feeling what we're feeling. So for me personally, and it's my therapy background, I like talking about feelings. So one of the things that I want you to think about, not just because it's January and because it's a brand new year, I want you to think about this throughout the whole entire year, is what does self-compassion look like for you? And I want to talk about quickly about why it's important. Now, I did do a call in my Mission Possible group. If you click on the link to my website, you can join if you like. You can subscribe for the year. Um, every month, I'm taking a deeper dive into two big topics. And one of them was self-compassion. And I wanted to share a little bit of that call with you because I think it's got a really important message to it. And that is that we are not defined by our clutter. Okay. We are allowed to be compassionate for the things that we struggle in. Okay. If being hard on yourself was actually the cure to clutter, then none of us would have clutter. I have yet to ever meet a client or anybody who comes into my decluttering world who says, you know what, I've always been so incredibly kind to myself. But no, because the truth is that we're not, right? We say mean things to ourselves. There's a lot of negative self-talk, but you are more than your stuff. So all of the gifts and talents that you have, as a partner, as a friend, as a son, daughter, cousin, whatever your gifts and talents are in your community, in the workplace, if you're still working, if you're retired with your grandchildren, whatever that looks like. Okay. You still have value. All of those gifts still exist outside of the clutter. The clutter, what clutter really is things we did not make decisions about. Okay. So when we strip away all of the messaging, all of the kind of the titles that we place on it, whereas, I am, because I have clutter, I am whatever negative word that you have about yourself. So let's take away all of that and just realize like, okay, you know what? I have a cluttered kitchen. I haven't made decisions about things. So maybe you haven't made a decision about how much you need of something, right? Maybe you need a little bit less of a certain item. Maybe you haven't decided where the home is for that item, which is why things are still sitting out on the counter. Maybe you struggle with follow through, right, of putting things away. So when we start looking at it just as facts, and not as some personal, mark against who we are as people, then it's a little bit easier to move through the process. So, why does this matter? Self compassion creates a safe emotional space for progress. Okay. So, when we feel unsafe in our emotions, our anxiety ramps up, so does overwhelm. Our brain fills with stress hormones, and then it's really hard to make good and clear decisions, right? So if you are overwhelmed, if you're feeling guilty about something, if you are stuck in this cycle of grief, okay, I want you to show yourself some grace. I want you to, instead of looking at the whole space, just kind of look at maybe the next right thing. So is there one zone that you can focus on and make it small? Make it small, make it intentional, right? When you walk into your space, if you have some big feelings, can you just stop and take a couple of breaths? Maybe you need to go for a walk around the block. Maybe you need to, open the window a little bit, let a breeze come in. Maybe to put on some music, listen to a podcast, anything just to kind of shift the energy, sort of shift that heaviness and that oppressiveness that you feel, and then go to the room that you feel stressed in and make a decision about three things. Okay. And when you make a decision about three things, you can make a decision about three more. Or maybe you're a person who likes timers. Set the timer for 10 minutes. How many decisions can you make? What can you get through in 10 minutes? The key is to keep it small and intentional. And then everything that you're making it mean, when that inner voice that you have that's leading you through this progress, make it easier on yourself. Okay. Be a little bit more self-compassionate, be kinder. Okay. Because being difficult on yourself is not actually going to help you reach your goals any more quickly. Okay. So that's what I have for you today. I'm going to be back here a little bit more regularly. Be sure I have a new website, so be sure to click on that. Come and check me out in Mission Possible. Come and join my email list because I've got so much good stuff that I want to share with you. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in my spaces. Keep doing the next right thing, everybody.